Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have a nice game to share with you from round 6 of Titled Tuesday, held September 2nd. On the white end, Frederik Svane, playing against Magnus Carlsen. Alright, time controls for Titled Tuesday is no longer 3+1. We're working with sudden death controls now. 5 minutes each, and that's it. Now, the opening we have here, an open Sicilian Khan, and fairly non-confrontational start to this one. Each side goes for their own little setup. Let's see what this looks like. Carlsen going for a very familiar, flexible arrangement. Has a name. Just these 12 moves in, there we go. Carlsen set up the Hedgehog. So what does this look like? 4 pawns positioned on black's third rank, knights connected, and the diagonal pieces have all taken a similar step to the right. Now, on white's end, white has this nice bind, this nice grip over d5, as well as control over b5. These are the 2 breaks black will be shooting for. b5 and or d5. All right. From here, still some more development to go. Queen d2. This queen does not feel comfortable on c7. If black is ever going to be successful with the b5 and or d5 breaks, this queen has to find a better square. So it is rook c8, queen b8. Rooks remain in direct contact with one another. Also c7 has been opened up. This here a frequent idea in the Hedgehog, forming a battery, making d5 more attractive. Maybe you swipe h2 one day with check. From here it is b4, h5. These next handful of moves are directed at this pawn getting to h4. This is where there is a battle going on in this game. h4 and also b6, as it turns out. We have here queen e1. Preventing h4. Now, why is it maybe important to prevent this pawn from getting to h4? Well, if it's established here on h4, what do? As white, are you okay allowing this pawn to get to h3? If not, you play h3 yourself. But if you do that, there's a hole created on g3. All right, well, do you allow h3 then? Allow g2 to be influenced, and as a result, allow a hole on f3. White doesn't want to see the pawn get to h4 in the first place, so queen e1 it is. From here, rook f to e8 is played. Now, if you play h4, this pawn can be captured without fear of this counter-strike knight captures e4, because there would be queen captures bishop. However, after rook f to e8, this is back on. This is now an idea. h4, queen takes, knight takes e4 would be there. We have here bishop g5 interfering with the h-pawn advance. At the same time, there is a little less pressure on this diagonal, specifically b6. So this knight can now think about going elsewhere. Not needed to watch over b6, it drifts now towards the king side. Knight e5, knight a4, it is weakened after the knight moves, bishop backs off, covered by the queen. King h1, off of an open diagonal, knight g6. Nearby, there is now h4, the knight is supporting this pawn advance. So h4, bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes, that trick on e4 is there. At this point, white gives up on the idea of trying to hold up the h4 advance. The bishop now returns to e3 in a way saying, okay, your knight, it's not going to stick around on d7. You're here to support h4. Let me put some pressure on b6. Let me support a possible c5 break. Black covers b6. And from here we have c5. Now, the computer wants to take a slower approach. It doesn't like the idea to break straight away. It has its eye on Queen F2, a follow-up bishop backing off. All right, white goes straight for it, breaks with C5. From here we have B5. Let's note what's going on after C5. B6, D6 under fire directly a couple times on B6, direct, indirect on D6, and also this one here. You can't cover all three in one go. We have B6, which addresses two threats. No chop on A6, knight under fire. Where do you go? The knight dives in at this stage, and white's going to be losing a pawn shortly after this advance, after the knight drop in there. Computer says best is knight c3, with then a capture on c5. Bishop e7 is a move. It says you could also take straight away. Okay, how white plays it. Knight goes into b6. Bishop captures knight. Pawn captures bishop. No queen captures pawn just yet. First, we have rook captures rook. If you take straight away, you're asking for this trouble. Knight f5. Problem here. Problem here. So, queen backs off. A rook exchange. Knight captures d6 to follow. What we have first is the rook exchange at this stage. This pulls the rook away from the pressure on d6. Only now is the b pawn collected without fear of knight f5. White's play from here is queen c3. If knight f5, it's only one threat at this point. The queen finds a safe square, goes to b8, and immediately throws a punch right back. The knight has to find a new home. So, not worthwhile. No good discovery here for white. We have a queen improvement. Queen c3 it is. Queen back to a safer square off of this diagonal. Follow up a4 break. B takes a. Bishop takes a, each side with a passer. And there is not enough support anymore. White no longer has this control over the break. d5 finally hits. Bishop b5, rook d8. Pop quiz. What's your move here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, in the game, bishop g5 is played. The best move is e5. Pawn sacrifice that tries to keep things a bit more on the closed side. What's nearby for black is the capture on e4, and the position is cracked wide open. d5 in particular shows up in my eye. Knight, rook, bishop all have access to it. With e5, it wants to recapture here, or capture, I should say, with the queen, taking what the knight runs into an irritating pin. e5, queen takes e5, bishop takes a4, calls this about -1. Bit more on the closed side, maybe you do something with this passed b pawn in time. All right. White's approach, once more, bishop g5. I could touch on this capture. This would be terrible. Knight recaptures, knight takes bishop, e5, trying to kick away the defense of the bishop. So knight f5 hangs the bishop, knight c6. You swipe the knight, swipe a pawn, you're up 2 healthy pawns, no problems to speak of. Black is winning that. All right, how it plays out here after rook d8 it is, bishop g5, last ditch effort, pretty much these next handful of moves by white. Trying to just stir up trouble on black's king side. Let's see what this looks like. Pawn takes pawn, bishop captures knight. Pawn takes bishop, knight captures pawn, unleashing this attack on f6. That's what we see after pawn captures knight. Queen captures pawn, no big deal. The king simply steps up without fear of any follow-up check. What we have now is g4. If white goes with queen f7, no problem. The king is nice and cozy right next to the knight like this. There is no good follow-up check. White simply up the piece. Queen is kind of out of play here. So this is going nowhere for white. After king h7, the try is with g4, but after queen f4, white resigns. If this game continued, what he's supposed to do, the queen on f4 is just way too active. If you want to avoid the queen exchange, queen captures rook here, there's queen captures rook check, pawn captures pawn check, white's up the piece, in the driver's seat, has the initiative. And here's just a fun way the game could end quickly. In the case of king g3, we'd have a mate in 2 with queen g1 and a few different mate in 1s. All right, only a 33 mover here out of the Hedgehog. A nice fight in this game over this h4 square. Knight maneuver. Looking forward to supporting h4. Counter strike on that b6 square with the knight no longer watching over it. Nice. It's had a nice logical flow to it. Anyhow, your thoughts with this one? Feel free as usual to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care. Bye.